Hello everyone, myself Manivin Praveen from group LA1 1932. Today I'm going to discuss the topic of adaptation to physical exercise guided by Associate Professor Olga Maskochuk ma'am. First, what is adaptation? When challenged with any physical task, the human body responds through a series of changes in function that involves most of the physiological systems. Movement requires activation and control of the musculoskeletal system. The cardiovascular and respiratory system provides the ability to sustain this movement over extended periods. When the body engages in exercise training several times a week or more frequently, each of these physiological system undergoes specific adaptation that increases the body's efficiency and capacity. Next, we are going to see the physiological responses to exercise. There are physiological changes that occurs to your body in response to the demand of exercise. These are acute and chronic. The acute effects are those responses that occurs while you are exercising and in the recovery period. The chronic effects are long-term adaptation that take at least 6 weeks to occur. Next, we are going to see the cardiovascular adaptation to exercise. The cardiovascular system, composed of the heart, blood vessels, and blood, responds predictably to that increased demand of exercise. The cardiovascular response to exercise is directly proportional to the skeletal muscle oxygen demand for any given rate of work, and oxygen uptake increases linearly with increased rate of work. The size of the heart increases as the chamber gets larger, and for non-endurance, the thickness of the ventricle wall increases. Next, we are going to see the respiratory adaptation to exercise. The respiratory system adapts when challenged with the stress of exercise. Pulmonary ventilation increases largely through stimulation of respiratory centers in the brainstem from motor cortex and through feedback from the proprioceptors in the muscles and joints of the active limbs. During prolonged exercise, the carbon dioxide production increases, hydrogen ion, blood and body temperature stimulates further increase in the pulmonary ventilation. At lower work intensities, the increased ventilation is mostly results of increased in tidal volume. At higher intensities, the respiratory rate also increases. Lung can take Lung can take in and distribute more oxygen and increase oxygen uptake. This occurs due to increased tidal volume as well as improved ability to attract oxygen from the alveoli onto the red blood cells. Next, we are going to see the musculoskeletal adaptation. Chronic adaptation of exercise, skeletal muscle adaptation to endure training slow twitch fibers. The cross-sectional area of slow twitch fibers increases slightly in response to aerobic work, whereas the fast twitch fibers, these fibers develop a high oxygen capacity. The adaptation lead to increased muscle size and strength. In non-endurance athletes, the size of the muscle is increased due to hypertrophy of fast twitch fibers. In endurance athletes, the increase in number of capillaries, strength in connective tissue such as tendons and ligaments are increased. The mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. These organelles generate the majority of cell supply of ATP through aerobic respiration. With the increased number and size of mitochondria, the proportion of pyruvate formed during glycolysis passing into the mitochondria for oxidative phosphorylation is increased with less used for the production of lactate. Next, we are going to see the neural adaptation. The, in the neural adaptation, the motor unit discharge rate is decreased. Due to the slower rate of decline in the motor unit conduction, velocity during sustained contraction is found after endurance training. Next, we are going to see the several other adaptations. The other adaptations are the hormones such as the catecholamines secreted at increased